Welcome to Living in Beauty. It's Sunday, August 25th, 2019, day 1133 on the road, and we're in southern Maine, experiencing the first whiffs of fall air and watching the leaves give their first sign of color, and just loving the change in the light. If autumn could sing a song, I know it would be my favorite. Music is a traveler. Notes land in artists' minds from a place that only God knows. When a writer picks up on a familiar signal, vibrations, voice, aura, it's time to clear the landing field. Over time, with varying degrees of success, songwriters learn to court the muse, the bearer of mysterious gifts. Ever have one of those days when nothing goes according to plan, but everything turns out perfectly? Yeah, we have a lot of those. After leaving Mystic, we pulled into Buttercup Farm in New Hampshire and pastured beside a pond with a small herd of grazing cattle. Far from the highway, in the quiet countryside, we discussed a short list of activities for our 4-day stay in Newport. The next morning, we crossed the border into Rhode Island and stopped at the Middle of Nowhere Diner, where beans and apples are what's for breakfast. We would have scheduled more time in the city by the sea if not for all the poor campground reviews. Our mistake. The Meadowlark RV Park met our standards for a vintage suburban campground. No, not luxury, but cared for. The grounds are quiet with a lot of old-growth trees and nicely groomed. Meadowlark borders a fascinating historic park where dogs are allowed on leash. And it's only a short bike ride to this world-class beach. Someday, we'll go back to Meadowlark and stay for 2 weeks or more and see more of the flower-bedecked cottages, the exquisite manor houses, and the beautiful coastline. Okay, it has occurred often enough that Jim now prepares to be mistaken for Anthony Hopkins. The Hopkins treatment often happens at restaurants and campground check-ins. It begins with the piercing gaze, the knowing smile, and then, "Hannibal Lecter!" To which Jim responds, "Sorry, not him, but Anthony is my much older and not as good-looking brother." When Jim entered the Meadowlark office, the host appeared to demonstrate all the visual signs of the Hopkins treatment, but instead of saying, "Sorry, we're fresh out of fava beans," as a server once snickered while taking his order, she exclaimed, "What perfect timing!" Well, Jim didn't have a clue, so he said, "Timing for what?" "For the Newport Folk Festival. That's why everyone's here. Starts tomorrow." "Wow, you sure look familiar." Then she winced at the screen, looking for his name, noticing the reservation was made only 2 weeks in advance, and said, "How did you manage that? We've been booked for months." Jim said, "Persistence? I called every day until I got the right answer." Then, testing his powers, he leaned in and said, "Can you suggest a place where I might find a good Chianti?" Then she figured it out. Kenny Rogers, or the Spittin' Image. I bet everybody tells you that. Yeah, Jim has that kind of face. So, we had arrived on the eve of the festival. The city is booked to the hilt, excitement all around, and that's really a bummer when you don't have tickets. But our sympathetic host presented us with the website for Eventbrite, saying, "It's a long shot, but hope you get in. Obviously, you're supposed to be here. Maybe they'll think you're Kenny and just open the gate." After we settled into our big grassy tree-lined private lot on the back lower level, the best area of the park, Jim logged on to Eventbrite and put us on the waitlist queue. At 5 p.m. on Thursday, we were number 53 on the list for Friday's festival. The queue did move, but slowly, and we could back out at any time. But we felt hopeful. Sitting outside watching the queue move on the computer, we watched a meadowlark guard its territory. darting from tree to tree, ousting saboteurs, crows, and ravens. The meadowlark is a traveling musician, one of the only birds to sing while in flight. In folklore, the meadowlark is associated with the banishment of sorrow, protection, divinity, and happiness. So we took it as a good omen that we get into the concert. The next morning, 1 hour before the festival started, we got a text that we were booked and we were ready to go. Traveling the festival circuit is a great way to see the US and Canada. We don't go looking for them, but it's such a delight to stumble onto one. The last time Living in Beauty bumped into a festival was Bluesapalooza 2016 in Mammoth Lakes. And honestly, I'm not familiar with the work of most of the artists we saw. I'm kind of an Eastern European klezmer and American bluegrass girl. But I really dig Maggie Carson. And when James Taylor made a surprise appearance, well, it took Jim and me back in time, remembering how the music carried us through those tumultuous years during the 60s and 70s. The era's musicians were prophetic because the work endures. Like the meadowlark, they sing in flight across cultures and time, soothing souls, even as they rouse the saboteurs from the shadows and into the light. Thank you for joining us at Living in Beauty. If you like this post and want to be notified when a new one is released, please enter your email address and click the follow button at the bottom of this page. For more info, check out our travel maps and facts. Okay, that's it for now. Happy and safe travels, and see you next time.